Hello everyone, it's the Axle Shifter here, back again with the next Forlorn Classics episode. Today we're going to be going back into another racing game. This one is called Adrenaline Rush, Miami Drive. This is another classic mobile game that was released way back then, meaning that, yeah, this is basically is a Forlorn Classic since no one really talks about the game that much anymore. So yeah, I'm here to talk about it. That's what this series is all about. So, yeah, without further ado, I think we get straight into this now. Let's drive. Adrenaline Rush Miami Drive was developed by Baltoro Games and published by Bulky Pix, and it was released for Android, iOS, and eventually the Nintendo Switch, so this game is still a Forlorn Classics, but not entirely, as it was released on the Switch, which is a much more recent console back in this era, and even this era is today. So, meaning that, yeah, this game is still a Forlorn Classic. So, yeah, now as for the game itself, it's about where you're driving in no other than Miami. As you drive throughout these different levels throughout the game, you drive as a car. In the tutorial, you start out as a pink, Lamborghini Countach, I guess, which is what this car is inspired by. And eventually, throughout the game, you eventually earn and unlock brand new cars throughout it. Though it's not very much because it's a pretty short list. There are about like at least a few cars in the game where you could really drive around, which isn't really too bad considering that it's just a mobile game. I mean, mobile games aren't required to really try that hard, but still, games like Asphalt 8 did have a lot of cars in its lineup, but that recently got updates, whereas this one, not at all. Now, as for the actual gameplay itself, I would say it's fairly decent, as the controls themselves do work pretty well, as you're simply just swiping throughout the different screens as you're trying to escape from the police. It's essentially an endless runner type game, the same way Sonic Dash, Temple Run, Subway Surfers, and plenty of other games play out, and even some still do to this day, including Angry Grandma. Yeah, remember Angry Grandma? Yeah, I think I'll have to discuss that in the future. But still, anyways, the gameplay itself for this game is fairly decent because the driving speed and the sense of speed is not very great per se, as, you know, feels pretty stiff that the cars is, but generally speaking, the gameplay isn't too offensive, as it is playable to say the least. But what I really love about this game is its art style, bro. I really love how this game looks because it truly stands out. It really feels like it came out of an early comic in the early 2000s, and it really helps the game stand out from the rest of the other racing games / other mobile games around the time, because the style itself is just so unique. I really love it. Now, as for the music itself is really nice, as it truly harkens back to the feeling of the 1980s, where really everything was really synthwave and like techno-ish and stuff. So yeah, I really like this game's soundtrack. I think you should really check it out, if it even exists, because I tried looking for it, because I just couldn't really find much, but you could still listen to hear some of it in the game itself, though, if you have it. So overall, I would have to say that this game is not the best game in this Forlorn Classic series. I would still say, in my opinion, that I would go to Ridge Racer 6, because I truly believe that that game is one of the best racing games ever. But in here, though, it's not really that far off. It's just there, really. I mean, I still have a lot of fun with this game, so I think you should check it out if you have an APK or something, or a Nintendo Switch, because, again, this game was released on the Switch, and I guess it plays the exact same way it would on a mobile or iOS phone. So, yeah, The soundtrack is pretty good, pretty catchy. I love the art style. I fucking love it so much. And the car list is, while it is pretty short, I wouldn't say it ruins the experience like having less variety in vehicles because they still look pretty cool, especially the Lamborghini Countach looking car. I really like that one. So, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you later for the next Forlorn Classic. Goodbye.